Good early afternoon, 12:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So as I've tried to hammer home the point for the last, I don't know how many days, I'm here at my son's therapy, so I've got about 10 minutes, and then I got to get back over there. But I've been trying to hammer this point home. If you're watching somebody, make sure that they understand what they're talking about. Make sure if you're watching somebody and you're putting your portfolio on the line, your personal finances, that you at least have a proven track record. At least you can trust somebody to be honest with you. Overwhelmingly, what we've seen the last several days is every influencer, every article, all the reasons why XRP was about to break down, even though it was still well within the pennant flag. And then yesterday, after it broke out, when it started to dump, all of a sudden you've seen all of that negativity. And I came on and I've tried to be so transparent with this audience that we were not bearish. We are super bullish. We broke out of a pennant flag. We back tested the pennant flag. And now the technical target's $3.38. Yes, there's short-term conditional moves like $2.72, $2.92 or 91 on our way up to the target. But if this plays true like it looks like it should, the technical target would be up to $3.38 on the short term. Overall, though, because that's just the consolidation in the flag. But in the pole, the pennant pole, like the pennant part of the pole, not the flag, but the pole, that technical target gets us up to $5.39. And that's pretty ironic. Hold on, let me wipe this. Because early on, after the descending wedge broke out, a 7-year consolidation, our target was $5.49. So it might have been switched just a little bit to update it to the $5.39 on the pennant flag target, but that's how close that they aligned. And now today, again, we're hearing how bearish it is for, I don't know why so many people have gotten into the bearish mindset with XRP, but you know, you got to let this play out. I keep saying, don't force it bearish until it's time. Like, don't force it bearish. You don't know how many people that have told me in the audience that has sold out at $2.20, $2.30, looking for the redrop. Like, if a drop is going to happen, it's going to happen. But these rallies end up playing out. Like, we don't know how high it goes. But right now, we're back up over $2.60. Actually, up to $2.63 now, which is quite a big move from when I just left to go pick my son up from school and got here to therapy and whatnot. It was only at $2.51, I believe it was, when I did that update, just not too long ago. Maybe it was like $2.52. Somewhere in here when I did the short. And now all of a sudden it's starting to move here a little bit. And like I said, the technical target is up there. As long as we held that 247 earlier, we were good. I re-emphasized it because I went back and I made sure that the point was on point. Instead of being at 250, I put it in the actual area I thought that it could back test, and then it didn't even come close to it this morning, at least. It bounced out of here. We actually held the $2.50. I put it down here in case I wanted to come to an inversion, but it was $2.50, so we'll just keep it there. But we wanted to put it there just in case it came down for an invert right arm, even though it made one there, but just in case. So now we just put it back there. Now the 250, again, it's going to play through because that's the pivot point. We don't have to worry about the lower level now. But it did break out at the $2.35 area. And that leaves us for a nice overwhelming target here up at $3. And it's actually like right on the cusp of being a little bit higher. It's like it's actually, yeah, 3. I keep saying 338, but every time I measure that on the top, it's actually 341. So anywhere in that area, I think we're coming up, even if bearish. Let's say this ends up being a bearish push, and then you get the rejection. I mean, you could certainly see something like that possibly because we're on the downside of the cycle uptrend since we started the rally. So you could technically come there and get a bearish hit. But that's up at $3.41 roughly, $3.45. So let's just pay attention to the formation in front of us. And let's stop using our personal emotion to try to force it somewhere. Like I say, the last thing you want is my opinion. What you want is what I'm saying because I'm doing it based on what the charts are showing me, but you don't actually want my own opinion. You want everything that I'm saying to be based off of what the charts and news are telling me, especially the charts when we're looking at this kind of a fundamental setup. But the worst thing, it could be my own personal bias, whether I want it to go up, down, left, or right, whether I think it's going to infinity and beyond, or the grave below the depths. You don't want to hear what I have to think in that regard. You want to know what the charts are speaking to us. And as long as you understand the setups, then it's good. If the person you're listening to doesn't understand the fundamental setups, they don't understand the technicals, but they're still trying to tell it from a technical perspective, we get in a lot of trouble that way. So I'm trying to be as transparent as I can. And that doesn't mean this has to play true. But as long as this plays and everything that we've seen is giving us that validation, we broke out of the pennant flag, which is a bullish consolidation. We have lower highs and higher lows. As long as there's not another lower high created, a lower low, pattern's bullish. Once a new higher high gets created instead of a lower high, that's when you can break out. And right now, although we haven't made a new higher high, we are right on the cusp. We have to get over $2.71. Right now, it still would not be a higher high. We need to get over 271. We're basically on the cusp here of pushing out. We went to 267, and now we're having that short-term consolidation within a move. Not a big consolidation, but you see Bitcoin's come down under 96, and we've had a little bit of movement here, but all across the board, everything's doing fine. DGB's up 6.2% yesterday. ZIL's up 5.7. XDC's up 4.2. VChain's up 3.5. HBAR's up 5.7%. And then I want to cover one thing real quick while I have time. Somebody asked me about algo in the comments earlier, and I said that I would do this in the update. I would cover algo when I did my early afternoon update. I have more, but I need to go back in a couple minutes because my son's obviously in his therapy, and I never know how that's going to go, so I never like to be too far away. But as far as algo goes, I really do like, if you look at this, just like this, I know it kind of looks like a rising wedge if you look at it this way. But if we take all the evidence we have in front of us and then I actually turn it like this, the rising wedge isn't as important. If we look at it like this, I think it makes more sense because we have a resistance here, come through resistance, resistance. I think that's what we're actually looking at. And yeah, it's a two-tiered setup, but I really do think that, I don't think this is as bearish as it's leading on. It might be, and we might find this out going forward. But it doesn't seem to be as bearish as it's leading on. Let me get rid of this. And that's the longer scale. But we can also look, like I said, there's an inverse head and shoulders that is set up here and it has not invalidated. And I think it's actually not there. I think it actually pulled out and you could do it here. And this was the back test actually. So yeah, and you could have back tested this. It's pretty interesting how this is playing out. It's definitely playing out in a fashion like this with these two uptrends. Got a couple downtrending resistance lines. So we're trying to confirm a breakout or a breach here. But right now, I'm pushing more to the, hey, this is setting up a big inverse head and shoulders here. And you know what? I take that back. I think we should go here because look, if you look at it like that, I would argue that maybe this is where the inverse right arm is, even though you could say it's here. But this could be the breakout point. So inverse right arm and then the back test, the uptrend is here. This is interesting. It's a very interesting pattern. And if it breaks out, it's going to get you back up pretty nicely up into this. Well, we'll look at it. And I would like to take it from this area right here. Nope, because that's going to be too small. And we'll look at this a little bit deeper in today's live, assuming that everything goes good and I'm live and yada, 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 so on and so forth, because you never know how the day is going to go, especially when you have kids. But it definitely looks like at any event that it should get us up here to that 59-cent mark. And whether it's a breakout for a further breakdown and a double top, we don't know. But it certainly looks like some kind of inverse pattern is set up here now. I honestly, I see a big inverse pattern here. And a lot of the ISO or the utility tokens as well, they all have these what look like inverse patterns set up. That doesn't look bearish to me. So if we can get up over that downtrending resistance, look out. Look out. So, but I'm going to leave it at that because I do have to get back. But that's at about 41 cents. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you appreciate my work, make sure to hit that like button before you leave. It does help me push my content out. We're getting close to, well, we're well over 30,000. I don't know if we got over 30,600 or not. I think we might have. but it does help push us out and find a wider audience. I think more people need to hear what the truth is rather than fiction or just enough fluff to get some views. Like I said, if I'm not doing a good job, I don't want views. I want you to be here because you're learning something, because you respect what I'm doing, and because you think there's a line of integrity that I give or that I demand for myself, so that you're getting factual information instead of just something that'll make me a cheap dollar. So in the end, you have to make up your decision as much as I have to make up mine. It's very hard to go through the waters. They're murky in social media. They're murky with influencers. I don't consider myself an influencer. I'm giving you my historical data, and I'm showing you everything that I see happening in a kind of like in a real-time format. And I couldn't have expected us to get over 30,000 subscribers after almost 4 years now. But what we built here is something special, and it's built on a fundamental understanding that I'm going to tell you the truth, that I'm above par in what I do, that I'm elite in my field. And that's not a flex. That's just saying I study this every single day. I watch this every single day. I'd never missed a day in 4 years. And so for that, I've been able to ride through a bear cycle to bull cycle, back to a bear cycle and into a bull cycle, buying the bear market, selling the bull market in the first cycle, buying the lowest of lows in this next cycle, and then being able to ride it through into where we are now. Right now, our XRP 10,000 tokens bought at $3,405 at $3,450 is now turned into about $26,500 right now. I initially had a challenge where I said, if you had $3,500, we'll buy it around 35 cents and we'll turn that into 35,000. That so far has gone up to almost 27. So we're well on our way. And I even said you didn't have to hang out until the end, but how would it feel to turn 3,500 into 20, 25, 30, 35, or even more on 10,000 tokens? So that's life-changing for some. Others might say that's just a drop in the bucket, but I know me personally, if I could have turned in 3,500 into 26,000 a few years ago, this would have been everything. Would have been everything. So count your blessings. I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And the power of love cannot be overstated. Love over hate will power through every single time.